Speeding toward the championship finale in Las Vegas, the stars of the IZOD IndyCar Series must first stop at Kentucky Speedway. After a summer stretch on road and street courses, Will Power, having won at Sonoma.
Power will net 21 points on the championship leader. Twin checkers are out. What a drive for Will Power.
Has overcome a 62-point deficit to claim top step on the championship ladder. But with 2 oval track races remaining, can the road course champion hold on to the lead? Can last year's champion Dario Franchitti come back from his Motegi mistake? The only way is to stay flat out. From Kentucky Speedway, located near Sparta, Kentucky, welcome to Versus coverage of the Kentucky Indy 300, the next to the last race on the IZOD IndyCar schedule for 2011. 29 cars and drivers are getting set to go on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Dario Franchitti will start back in 11th position. He is second in the point standings. The points leader, of course, is Will Power, and yesterday he won the pole for this event. And he will start on the inside of row number 1. There is Graham Rahal, who's getting set to go. He will start in second position. Brian Hunter-Reay also getting set to go, getting a final swig of water before the command to start the engines. There have been 9 different winners in 11 races here at Kentucky, and Will Power is hoping that he can add his name to that list here this afternoon. Only 2 drivers have repeated as winners at this facility. Buddy Lazier won twice in 2000 and 2001, and Sam Hornish Jr. won in 2003 and 2006. 60 degrees, northwesterly wind, but it's very, very pleasant. Humidity very low, 38%. All right, let's go down to trackside and get the command to start this IZOD IndyCar Series race here today.
And here to give the command, the most famous words in motorsports, the honorary Grand Marshal of the Kentucky Indy 300, Cincinnati Mayor Mark Mallory.
Drivers, start your engines.
The command has been given. Row 1 pit tech, let me know.
Sure, and get the revs up quite a bit here. We're pretty low on temperature.
Row 2, are you running yet? 2 hot.
1 hot, 1 knot.
4 hot. Hot.
6 hot.
7 hot.
8 hot.
9 hot.
12, 13 hot.
14, 15 hot. Copy that. We're showing all cars running. Let me know if they're not.
Well, we heard 1 car not, but apparently that has been remedied, and all cars are now running, all 29, as we get set for 200 laps, 300 miles of competition on this 1.5-mile tri-oval, with the banking at 14 degrees in the turns, and through the tri-oval here in front of the grandstand, it's banked at 8 degrees. It is cool here, not nearly as cool as we said as yesterday, but because of the fact that it's a little cooler, they're getting the cars an opportunity to warm up a little longer on pit lane.
Yeah, just getting those temperatures up a little bit, and that's so hard when it's cold like that. It takes a long time to get that water temperature up, and oil temperatures too.
The last thing you want to do with these cars is send them out and start getting cold air through the radiators. You want to let them sit and warm up first.
All season long, we've shown you the Honda Fastest Seat in Sports sweepstakes, winner in the IZOD two-seater. This contest has been a huge success with nearly 80,000 entries at shophonda.com. This week's lucky winner is Scott Bernhack from Orlando, Florida. Scott, can you hear me? It's Bob Jenkins up in the booth.
I can. Amazing.
Do you like this?
The best, the best. Let's let it out.
When you entered the contest, did you have any idea that you would be the winner and be here in Kentucky and taking this ride of a lifetime?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow.
I think that's about the response we get from all of those in the two-seater. They're not able to really answer questions, but just want to experience the thrill. Thanks, Scott. Good luck to you. By logging on to shophonda.com, Scott won the opportunity to start today's race in the IZOD two-seater driven by Ari Lyondike. Thanks to Honda for providing such an opportunity to bring fans closer to the sport that we all love. Here is the Mother's Polish starting grid for today's race. Will Power and Graham Rahal occupy the front row, with Power the only driver in excess of 219 miles an hour during his qualifying run. James Hinchcliffe, a rookie in the series, starts third alongside Ed Carpenter, who's been a second here the last two times he's competed. Hildebrand and Marco Andretti will occupy row number 3. In the fourth row, it's Scott Dixon and Ryan Hunter-Reay. Oriol Survey and Charlie Kimball occupy the 5th row. In the 6th row, it's Dario Franchitti and Mike Conway. Franchitti starting in 11th. In the next row, the 7th row, Simona De Silvestro and Danica Patrick. Wade Cunningham and Elio Castroneves will be in the next row. Then Buddy Rice and Ryan Briscoe. Tony Kanaan and Anna Beatrice in row number 10. The 11th row, Vitor Meira and Takuma Sato. Then E.J. Viso and Alex Lloyd. Dylan Battistini, making his first start in the series, will start 25th. Townsend Bell 26th. James Jakes and Dan Weldon back in these 27th and 28th positions. And Pippa Mann, who crashed during her qualifying run or warming up for her qualifying run yesterday, will start in the 29th position. All right, let's talk about strategy.
Well, the Sunoco pit strategy this week is good news. Anytime you see the pit windows, in fact, there are 3. You can see the 41 to 52, the 94 to 105, and the 147 to 58. Those numbers are wide. That's what you want. And of course, Lindy, if you're somebody like Dan Weldon starting at the back, maybe a time to try some different strategy.
Yeah, he's starting 28th and has to start last in Vegas. This is like a dry run for you. How do you play the strategy starting from the back?
Wow, the strategy is really a function of how good the race car is. You've got a good race car, you can go to the front around these tracks, no problem. So we think the Bowers and Wilkins car is pretty good today, and as you say, it's great practice for Vegas.
Yeah, Bob, it's anyone's guess what's going to happen out here today.
Well, the most different leaders that we have had at this racetrack, 9 in 2009, 23 late changes. Onboard cameras today will be carried by Ryan Briscoe. Also, Elio Castroneves. Dario Franchitti has the Firestone onboard camera. Scott Dixon will be starting in 7th position. J.R. Hildebrand carries the National Guard car, showing pink, honoring the female military servicemen and women. And Will Power, the pole sitter, will carry the Verizon onboard camera. 29 cars begin to come up to speed off of corner number 4.
Green, green, green.
We're racing at Kentucky Speedway. You'll see 2 and 3 wide racing on this racetrack. It's been very competitive in the years past. We hope we have a similar race here today. 3 wide going into turn number 3 on the very first lap.
Marco Andretti, red and black at the very top of the screen, immediately started going high. He's right behind the yellow car of Ed Carpenter. And Graham Rahal said he was going to make it tough on Will Power. So far, he falls behind. Carpenter on the high side, on board with Hildebrand.
Power leads Graham Rahal down the backstretch. Great battle for 3rd place.
Yeah, this is a racetrack you're going to hear the spotters all day long in your ears.
Drap with Will. It's still 1 back.
Battle for 4th place. James Hinchcliffe is up there contesting with Graham Rahal, running right behind him. There's Rahal to the inside and Hinchcliffe to the outside. Back of them, J.R. Hildebrand and Ed Carpenter.
They were telling Graham Rahal as they tell others which gear to choose. You have a choice of 5th or 6th gear. They told Graham, stay with power, draft with him. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm flat out. The guy's driving away from me. But what a great side-by-side battle here.
We saw in practice yesterday, J.R. Hildebrand and Elio Castroneves run this way for many, many laps.
Clear now, clear.
There's Marco Andretti, who now comes up to say to Ed Carpenter that, hey, I'm right here, and so is Scott Dixon.
Look at him on the low side, though. Scott Dixon taking the shorter way around.
And that pulling away. This is working out good. You're clear by you and Hitch are clear by 10 to the rest of the pack.
And that is the best way around here. I mean, watching everybody in practice so far, you really want to be down on the bottom, right on the yellow line. You want to let those guys, if somebody's going to pass you, let them work on the high side. You see Carpenter's been working on Hildebrand for lap after lap after lap. The toe or the draft really comes into play here.
Marty.
Clear behind him.
Riding along with Scott Dixon, his teammate Dario Franchitti is right behind him in the black and aqua car. The one thing Dario told me he thought would happen early in the race today is that a pack would take off from the rest of the field. That's exactly what's happening right now. And the problem for Dario, he's trying to hang on to that pack as best he can. He said, I can't let that pack get away from him. And you see the battle up front as well, guys.
The driver who has made the most noise in the first few laps, Townsend Bell, who's gained 11 positions, started 26th. He's now 15th. Ryan Briscoe has gained 7. Dan Weldon.
Give me a little bit of a warning, going down to 1. Let's hold your line. When you pick a line, going into 1.
Weldon has moved up 5 positions since the drop of the green flag.
Giving some warnings from race control already. They were told that if you're in the middle lane, you cannot go to the bottom of the racetrack. If you enter in the middle, you have to stay in the middle, and they're warning drivers already not to chop. You definitely don't want to get chopped into turn 1.
There you see Dario Franchitti at the end of that group that we just saw.
There's Townsend Bell right in the middle of the picture. Valspar, that of course is Dreyer and Reinbold. That would have been Justin Wilson's ride. Started way back, and as you said, has been moving forward.
1 back looking.
Running with Anna Beatrice, teammate. Danica Patrick up there in the 14th position.
Now Servia dropping back after his interview after the Indy Lights race. He was confident he'd be going forward. The day is not going as Servia had hoped at all.
Oriol Servia has certainly had a good year, though. 4th in the point standings. Not going to be a championship contender, but it's been a great season for him and the Newman Haas team. There is Will Power, the leader of the race, right behind him. The good battle for second is between Graham Rahal and James Hinchcliffe. Back in a moment.
The Kentucky Indy 300 on Versus is brought to you by IZOD, the official apparel of the IZOD IndyCar Series, available at Macy's. And by Sunoco, fueling victories on and off the track. Here's to victory.
IZOD at Facebook.com.
What we created here, what we achieved here, what we learned here, and what we pioneered here, all goes here. The One. The Accord. Smarter thinking from Honda.
In IndyCar racing, it's all about speed, and the action happens in the blink of an eye. So you need something that helps you keep up, like IndyCar Mobile from Verizon. It lets you keep pace with in-race audio, up to the second leaderboards, highlights, and even driver tweets. Download it now!
Get IndyCar Mobile, the app that can make you a millionaire. Enter the GoDaddy IndyCar Challenge for a chance to split the $5 million prize. Text Indy to 3406 or visit IndyCarWorldChampionships.com.
You're a sports fan. You have the scores. Now get the story.
Welcome to NBC Sports Talk.
NBC Sports Talk is a brand new show that gives you a unique perspective on sports.
Kurt Gibson, easily the manager of the year choice.
From insiders in the know.
6 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's the way of 2011 football in the NFL.
So don't just catch up with sports. Get ahead. NBC Sports Talk. Every weeknight at 6 on Versus.
The Kentucky Indy 300 on Versus underway. We have completed 16 laps of the race. Will Power, your leader. Battle for second place continues between Graham Rahal and James Hinchcliffe. As Hinchcliffe goes to the high side, Townsend Bell gains 12 positions in the first 16 laps. Moving up to 14th, Briscoe has gained 8 and Weldon 7. Kevin.
James Hinchcliffe with his best start of the season qualified third. They took off downforce yesterday before qualifying. He said, you know, if I'm going to keep doing this, if I want to be competitive on ovals, it's time to take off the big boy pants. Put on the big boy pants, and he did that yesterday, and he really put up a big number in qualifying, and he's got an opportunity to stay up front today.
Sounds like he's not wearing any pants, according to you, Kevin.
You scared me there,
Let's make
Kevin.
it clear, he's wearing pants,
okay,
and they are the man-sized pants.
Okay, I wasn't quite sure what we were going with there.
Hinchcliffe gets such a great run on Rahal on the straightaway, but then he's got to pull out, and he just doesn't have the momentum to pull off the pass. It's just like when you pull out after you're drafting somebody, it's like a parachute going out the back. It really slows the car down. He is right there. Marty.
And guys, one of the things to keep an eye on early in the race is how far those Penske cars came back up through the field. Elio Castroneves today started 16th. After 6 laps, he was 12th. You're riding along with Ryan Briscoe right now. Both of those cars changed engines this morning, and Elio told me it was really because they wanted to be precautionary. They were a little worried about why they lost 3 miles an hour all of a sudden in qualifying. So more to be on the offensive. They changed engines this morning as you ride along with Elio Castroneves, currently in 12th, up from 16th.
Graham Rahal continues to be ahead of James Hinchcliffe in the battle for second position just a few laps ago. We heard some radio traffic regarding race control and their concern for him entering turn number 1. Let's listen to it.
Hold your line going into 1. They've given us another chat on the radio. We got to watch our line. We don't want a penalty. Remember, it's the bottom 2 lanes. You can't go above the second white line.
What they were warning him about, and we'll watch him as he goes to turn 1 here live now, is the dash line, the second one. He cannot put his right tires across that line right there. He can run on it, but he cannot go across it. If he does, they think that would be blocking and taking the air away from Hinchcliffe. Now, every time instead of crossing it, he's going straight over it, and race control says that's fine with us.
Here are Ganassi cars as Scott Dixon goes to the inside of teammate Dario Franchitti. This is the 8th and 9th positions. Aqua and black on the Downey sponsored car of Dario Franchitti this weekend.
Still there. Still inside, just on your corner. Clear by about a half.
Not anymore.
Still there. Still there. Just clear.
Chip Ganassi Racing has all 4 cars in the top 10 here early going.
Dixon may have probably cut him a little bit of slack there.
Oh, yeah.
Again, 8th and 9th here, Franchitti and Scott Dixon. It's Will Power leading by almost a second over Graham Rahal and James Hinchcliffe. Arco Andretti moves to 4th, and J.R. Hildebrand is 5th.
TireRack.com, we stock an incredible number of tires, nearly 1 million tires. But we don't just stock them, we test them. And we post user reviews so you can find which tires are the best for you and your car. All this at a price that won't slow you down. And that's 1 in a million, or in most cases, 4 in a million. The biggest selection of tires. One more way Tire Rack is revolutionizing the way you buy tires. TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install.
Living with diabetes is a reality for me.
but I learned that I don't have to use a vial and syringe as part of my daily routine anymore. My doctor showed me the Novolog Mix 70/30 FlexPen. FlexPen is discreet and comes pre-filled with my insulin. FlexPen goes with me and doesn't need refrigeration and is covered by most insurance.
If you're still using a vial and syringe, ask your healthcare provider about the benefits of FlexPen. FlexPen is a discreet, pre-filled dial-a-dose insulin pen. You can dial the exact dose of insulin you need and inject insulin by pressing a button. Novolog Mix 70/30 is an insulin used to control high blood sugar in adults with diabetes. Do not inject if you do not plan to eat within 15 minutes to avoid low blood sugar. Tell your healthcare provider about all medicines you take and all of your medical conditions, including if you are pregnant or breastfeeding. Most common side effects include reactions at the injection site, weight gain, swelling of your hands and feet, and vision changes. Other serious side effects include low blood sugar and low potassium in your blood. Get medical help right away if you experience serious allergic reactions, including body rash, trouble with breathing, fast heartbeat, sweating, or if you feel faint. FlexPen is made by Novo Nordisk, a healthcare company committed to diabetes care for nearly 90 years.
I've made FlexPen part of my routine, just like spending time with my family. Ask your healthcare provider about Novolog Mix 70/30 FlexPen today.
Learn more about the different insulins available in FlexPen at myflexpen.com. FlexPen, insulin delivery that goes with you.
Back in Kentucky, in what was a single file formation has turned into about a 9-car battle, all behind Will Power, who is leading his 13th race of the season. The record for most races led in a season is 15, shared by Dan Weldon in 2005 and Juan Pablo Montoya in 1999. And Marty, what's going on?
A lot of discussion on Helio Castroneves' team. He does have a water leak in the car. You remember they changed engines this morning, as we told you just moments ago. They did go through the quality check this morning. They got 2 laps. They saw no leaks in the engine. Back in the pits, the team is trying to get a plan together. They brought some water to the pits, and they're trying to get a plan together as to how they could possibly stop this water leak if they need to and bring them to pit road. But now they're considering pitting here under green early in the race, Bob.
Pit this time.
They're pitting now. There you go.
Yep. Helio will give up his 10th position right now to come in for an unscheduled early pit stop as we watch this battle between Oriol Servia and Townsend Bell. Okay, up in the booth with us is Alex Tagliani, who has had a great season, but his car that he has driven all year is now being driven, and there you see the 77 car by Dan Weldon, and Weldon is running in 20th position, started back in 28th position. It's tough to not be out there in the car, Tag.
Yeah, it is difficult to watch the car that you know, we put so much effort and money into the program since last year, but you know, I took a big pride in bringing Bowers and Wilkins into the league, and this was an opportunity for Bowers and Wilkins to have some great visibility in Vegas. And you know, even though if it's very difficult to watch the car running around, but having Dan in the car and having the chance to do good, I think it's a good deal.
Let's go to Marty.
And Bob, when Helio Castroneves came by last time, the engine was clearly not at full song. Helio did not know that he had a water problem. John Erickson telling him it's a water temp issue. They're going to take the back off, and they think they might have lost an engine here.
Defending champion of the race. He won here last year, but not a chance to win a race this year. And it also is meaning that only one race remains now in his quest to win a race for another season. He has 11 straight seasons that he has won at least one race. He does not have a victory so far this year in the series. Now there is Will Power, who has opened his advantage over Graham Rahal to 1.8 seconds. 37 laps completed. Race going very quickly here at Kentucky Speedway. Versus drops the puck on a new NHL season Thursday with an opening night doubleheader. First at 6:30, the Flyers visit the defending Stanley Cup champion Bruins. Then at 10 o'clock, the Penguins take on the Canucks. The NHL on Versus. Hockey is here. And if there's one good thing about ending the racing season, it means that hockey season isn't too far behind. Tag, who do you follow in NHL hockey?
Well, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens when I have the chance, but I have a bit of a heart towards the Tampa Bay because I have a couple friends playing in the team. So Vinny is playing, and so I always hope that they're doing good.
Alex Tagliani has joined us up here in the booth as we ride along with Dario Franchitti, who is running in 8th position. Right now, the point spread is 40. Will Power has a 40-point advantage on Franchitti here in the early going of this race.
Just watching the telemetry here, 215, 216. He scrubs off about 4 or 5 miles per hour through the corner here. But boy, that looks so cool. Marty, you got something with Elio?
Yeah, out of the car, Wally, and fresh out of the car, kind of staring here in disbelief. We know it was a water leak. What exactly happened?
Yeah, the only thing I felt, it was engine losing power. Just spoke with Roger, one of the guys from Honda, and they basically said there was a water leak, and we just lost water, and then when you lose water, and basically now I think we ended up dropping 1 cylinder. So it's a shame because the car was really looking good, man. I was very excited out there, and just making some adjustment in the car. The weather's awesome because the temperature on the tires, it's really good. So it's just a shame, but it's been a long time. Honda's doing a great job. It's just a shame that we have that.
Everything trying to get the car off pit road as well because pit stops are beginning here, Bob.
Dan Weldon, one of the first to come in. Also, Marco Andretti is on pit lane. He was running in the top 5 when he decided to come in for a pit stop. We're almost at the 1/4 mark of this race already. Tony Kanaan has service completed on his Geico-sponsored car, and away he goes.
Added front wing to Tony Kanaan. Marco Andretti sliding out. And our leader, Will Power. Now look, he has... I was just going to say, he does not have a preferred spot. Kevin?
It's Anna Beatrice. Anna Beatrice makes contact. Power is in it. They're going ahead with the tire change. Let's see if they have an issue. They're checking the left side of the car. Power is going to be sent away, but he lost a lot of position on pit road, and he's got traffic to deal with on exit.
Wow, Kevin, I was just halfway through the sentence saying that because of his qualifying in Loudon, he did not have a preferred pit spot, and there was definite contact there. They didn't obviously appear to make any repairs. Wow, what a moment for Power.
That is how championships are won and lost. Front nose replaced on the Anna Beatrice car. Dario Franchitti, meanwhile, comes in for his first stop, Marty.
We're ready for you down here. You're going to have the Indy in. Wide open on the way in. Keep the revs up on the stop.
Yeah, Bob, the Ganassi cars have not quite made the progress they thought they would. Dario Franchitti started 11th, kind of hung around 9th and 10th with his teammate Scott Dixon, but he's fairly happy with the car. They will make air pressure adjustments, trying to get the car to be a little bit better, especially at the end of the run. They will sit on pit road a little bit longer of a stop than this team would have liked, though.
Go, go, go.
There's the narrow exit of the pits that Wally talked about. And on cold tires, that could be a problem. So far, okay. Dario gets back up to speed from his first pit stop. Ed Carpenter may be the leader of the race now, with Franchitti making a stop.
Still clear by 5, Hildebrand.
There's Graham Rahal.
You're faster than these guys. Just keep running the line you were running earlier. You will catch them.
Scoring is not showing exactly who the leader is. We know it's not Dario Franchitti because he just made a pit stop. And I'm not sure if Ed Carpenter and others that are shown toward the front did or not. Now J.R. Hildebrand is shown in second position on our scoring, but we'll have to wait and see what's going on here. Meanwhile, some battles still going on the racetrack. That's Ed Carpenter and Graham Rahal still running together just like they were when the race began. Carpenter had dropped back a couple of positions before the first pit stops, but now it's Ray Hall and Carpenter once again doing battle on the racetrack. 55 laps completed of the 200 that will make up the Kentucky Indy 300 here on Versus.
You've probably had your Kraft macaroni and cheese stolen. Now there's a policy that covers you in the event of macaroni and cheese loss. Macsurance.
An insurance policy for mac and cheese? Talk to me. I have a policy with Kraft that covers me in case a grown-up eats my share.
With Kraft Macsurance, you have peace of mind in an unsafe world.
Coverage feels good.
Gooey, creamy, delicious Kraft macaroni and cheese. You know you love it.
Welcome to the Van Heusen Institute of Style. You may come as schlubs, but you will leave with swagger. Exhibit A, khakis to work? What a schlub. Exhibit B, man, this is style in motion, the definition of swagger. Style is a statement, gentlemen, and a statement we will make.
Guys, check it out. You and four buddies want to make a style statement at the big game in Indy in February? You'll be cruising in the G4, posing for the paparazzi and hanging in the suite with Steve, Jerry, and Fred. Go to jcp.com/Van Heusen for contest details.
What happens when you use Peak Motor Oil? You get premium performance and can save up to 10 gallons of gas every time you change your oil. So any car runs like a 10, even if it's more like a 6. You're not just changing oil, you're saving gas. Put Peak Motor Oil in, save on gas.
Story about a man with a car and a job, a wife and a kid, and his name is Bob. Just a regular guy with a regular car, but it's what he rolls on that makes him a star. Firestone. His Firestone tires are known far and wide. The way they perform gives a sense of pride. That's Bob's story, he ain't no liar, because everybody knows the legends ride fire. Firestone.
Legendary drivers need legendary tires.
At Kentucky Speedway, we have checked and we believe that Dario Franchitti is the leader of the race, so this is the battle for the lead. And we're on board with J.R. Hildebrand, who's trying to get the lead from Dario. And right behind them is Dot Dixon and Marco Andretti. Okay, I said before break there's no way. How can it be possible, Alex Tagliani?
Well, Dario was not that far behind the lead group, so, you know, around 3 seconds. And he stayed out a couple of laps, ran really quick lap times. Guys are coming out of the pits with some problems and heavy fuel load, new tires, battling. And at the same time, Dario was on track. So when he came in to do his pit, he came out and he gained those 2.5 or 3 seconds that he had.
I tell you what, I'm not so sure Briscoe's, Will Power hasn't hurt that car a little bit. He is, he's about 3 miles per hour, 4 miles per hour slower since he came in. So it'd be interesting to see if those guys were okay, but he sure has fallen off the pace.
Now, what Alex is talking about, when you pit later, you get that advantage. Also, Dario Franchitti had the preferred pit at pit out. There wasn't anybody on pit road when he pitted, so the difference between Will Power and his issues on pit lane, it certainly looks clear. I would start to make the turn into my pit, but unfortunately, Anna Beatrice was being launched at the time. Wow.
Well, because of that, Will Power now runs in 9th position, and the points lead goes back to Franchitti by 14 over Will.
They think they avoided major catastrophe because the contact came just above the winglet. They don't think there's any damage with the radiator. It's bodywork issue, but Will Power has not been talking on the radio. They're still not certain how the car is handling. As you mentioned, he's lost some time on track. He's not as quick as he was before. Remember the last time he had contact on pit road in Iowa, the car didn't handle the way it did before, and that's one of the reasons why he eventually put it in the wall. Robin?
All right, I hate to say I told you so, but in the pre-race, I told you, Kevin, Ganassi didn't make problems in the pits. Penske's had trouble. I don't know whose fault that was, but the most important thing to remember is this, is that Franchitti came in 9th, went out, now he's 1st. Graham Rahal came in 2nd. He went out 6th. they've had pit issues. Will Power's back at 9th. And Ganassi's guys always do the best job in the pits. They have for the last 2 years. And he's proven us wrong again. We didn't think there was any way he's leading. And guess what? He's leading because they did a great job again.
And the battle right now is for third position as Marco Andretti goes to the inside of Scott Dixon and temporarily takes third spot. J.R. Hildebrand running second on board with Scott Dixon. Hildebrand is right there on the rear wing and the gearbox of the leader, Dario Franchitti.
And it's amazing how one race, the way that they choose the pit positions, can make such a difference. You think back to Loudon and that it wasn't a good qualifying run. That's where it comes from, not the race finish, but qualifying. Will Power doesn't qualify well. He's in the middle of the pits. Dario does.
No idea where he's going to go.
So Dario saves fuel, takes the advantage, gets a quick pit stop. And as Robin just said, everything came unraveled for Will Power. Just shocking how fast that can change. It looked like he was just driving away.
We will keep you abreast of the overall point standings and the A.J. Foyt Oval Track Championship. Right now, Dixon leads over Dario in that championship by 2 points. That's for the Oval Points Championship. Here on the racetrack, it's Dario Franchitti leading Hildebrand and Andretti, and Dixon and Rahal running in the 5th spot. Will Power still back in 9th. Dan Weldon up to 15th. Those cars passing by the car on the low side of the racetrack, which is Dylan Battistini, who is making his first IZOD IndyCar Series start here this week for Conquest Racing. 72 out of 200 laps completed. It's Dario Franchitti now leading at Kentucky.
What we created here, what we achieved here, what we learned here, and what we pioneered here, all goes here. The One, the Accord, smarter thinking from Honda.
All my life, I've just been an adrenaline junkie. Speed, risk, danger. I think I found my fix.
Green, 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 green. All clear, all clear. Just looking, keep coming.
Another of our talented rookies, California's J.R. Hildebrand.
Yellow in front of you, stay left.
The guys, he's looked like a veteran out there every time he's strapped into the car.
Daily driving or hard charging, time and the elements can take their toll on your car's exterior. Mother's Back to Black line of products will restore the original look to trim with any color and keep tires looking blacker longer. Easy to apply and long-lasting. Let the legendary protection of Mother show you how to get back to black.
In IndyCar racing, it's all about speed, and the action happens in the blink of an eye. So you need something that helps you keep up, like IndyCar Mobile from Verizon. It lets you keep pace with in-race audio, up to the second leaderboards, highlights, and even driver tweets. Download it now!
Get IndyCar Mobile, the app that can make you a millionaire. Enter the GoDaddy IndyCar Challenge for a chance to split the $5 million prize. Text Indy to 3406 or visit IndyCarWorldChampionships.com.
76 laps completed. Dario Franchitti has taken the lead here at Kentucky Speedway. We thought there was a scoring problem on the first pit stop, but instead Dario was able to make the pit stop and stay in the lead. So he is running in second position. Let's do it through the field. Here's Marty to begin.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day to go through the field, and Dario has what everybody wants, clean air, and that's the big difference. They went 3 laps longer than most everybody else. When they made their pit stop, he was out turning fast laps while everybody else was out making slow laps on cold tires. No adjustments on that stop for Dario Franchitti, and exactly where he wants to be. Behind him in second place, J.R. Hildebrand. No changes on his stop. When we talk about teams that have really come up, how about Panther at these oval racetracks? They've always been good. Clearly on almost won the Indianapolis 500, running well today. Below him is Scott Dixon, and I believe we have a yellow, Bob.
First of the afternoon at lap number 80, 79 complete.
He's in turn 2.
We believe it is for debris. Nothing appears to be major on the racetrack. It is indeed. So the caution will come out and break the speeds. Now, when you're talking about speeds, Will Power, before he had the pit incident, was clocking laps at 218.2. Since he has come out from that problem on pit lane, they were about 4 miles an hour slower, Jan.
And Bob, that would be because, first of all, we don't know if there's damage, but I would suspect it's because they would have put a low downforce setup on Power because they expected him to lead. There is, in fact, the debris. So it wasn't a mystery caution. It was, in fact, something, because that
yellow for debris on the backstretch.
That could definitely cut a tire. You need to go down yellow for that. That is in the racing line. But what I was saying, and Alex, you and I talked about it a little bit during the break, they expected Will Power to be out front. You put a downforce level thinking you're not going to have to run in traffic. Now he's stuck in the middle, and he's in trouble.
That's correct. I mean, that's the perfect strategy when you start up front. And it's probably also what Dario is running because, you know, on the first segment, he was not running very well. It seems like he was just buying his time in 10th place. And then he's running up front, almost uncatchable. So it looks like those two guys chose to setups that they can make them run up front.
A reminder, everybody, all pit stops are off of turn 4.
18 cars are on the lead lap here at our first caution.
Pits are open. Pits are open. Pit off of turn 4.
Race average 211, and going down at one point it was 217 there before we had the series of pit stops. So still a quick pace, although it's going down because of this caution.
Bob, you heard Dario say he's coming in. Expect almost everyone to stop. You always stop under caution, especially a track like this, because you lose more than a lap if you tried it under green. Maybe someone like Vitor Mira might stay out, who's trying to get a lap back. Otherwise, hit the pits.
All right, pit stops underway. Here's Kevin Lee.
And Will Power needed this yellow because they need to make some changes. There's a big hole on the left side of the side pod, so they've got a great big piece of tape. They're going to try to stabilize the car as much as they can. Power at 60 miles an hour. Sharp left-hand turn will get around James Jakes through. He will take 4 Firestone tires and Sunoco ethanol, and he'll make the changes, Marty.
Scott Dixon in the middle of your screen. You saw a wing adjustment, also an air pressure adjustment. He said he feels like he's sliding both ends of the car. His teammate Dario Franchitti will easily win the race off pit road. They come out 1-2. No changes for Franchitti. Few changes for Dixon. Kevin?
Still working on the side pod. They put one piece of tape down, another piece of tape. I heard Tim Cindric right before Power came in telling the crew this is a big hole. They have patched it up the best they can. And there is fuel leaking out of the back of the car. There was something, it looked a little bit more than you normally see when a car peels off a pit road. So hopefully for the 12 team, that's not an issue.
Wow, how this championship has gone back and forth. Unbelievable. Right now, the race, the Sunoco race off pit road, shows that Dixon gained a position, Andretti gained one, J.R. Hildebrand lost 2 positions on that. Ryan Briscoe was also a big gainer in 3 positions.
And that's certainly, on looking at that, has got to be the big, I mean, that definitely is a lot of drag.
Oh, yes.
I mean, at 220 miles per hour, a hole like that is definitely going to slow the car down.
There's more debris there in the backstretch that missed a bit.
It's probably the debris is probably off of Power's car.
Good chance of that.
10-4, we'll get somebody on that.
Now, I think the liquid that Kevin saw was they went with the water bottle and sprayed it down when he left, like you do, to be sure to dilute any fuel that might have been from the refueling. So hopefully that wasn't anything from the radiator area. We heard Tim Cindric call and talk to Power to say, come back in again. Oh, the tape didn't stay.
Caught the field yet or not? Here we are, coming in here, coming in.
So Cindric directs Power in once again.
Hold up here. Let me know where the pace car gets to turn 3.
Power in a collision with Anna Beatrice on pit lane during the first scheduled series of pit stops has relegated the points leader going into this race
Guys, we need to get going.
To really far behind in the championship. 24 points.
Let go of the car, let go of the car, and let's go.
That's a pretty big gash.
Yeah, sure is. The sweeping trucks are out there, making sure there are no marbles on the racetrack for the restart, which we will have in just a few moments. Stay with us for more live coverage of the Kentucky Indy 300.
Get your marks here. Byron, tell me when they're in turn 3.
Big development here at Kentucky Speedway in the Indy 300. Will Power with a collision of Anna Beatrice on pit lane, and they are still working on Will Power's car there on the left side pod. Trying to tape it if he's dropped all the way back to at least 20th position. Let's show you what happened earlier.
And as Will Power is coming in, he obviously is going to be making a line like so into his pit. All right, Anna Beatrice at this point, their team, she's located right here. They need to see that Will Power is coming, and they need to not send her. And as you see, he's giving a wide berth so that there's plenty of room to get in, but this is just bad timing. That was not the right call, unfortunately, by Dreyer and Reinbold. You cannot fault Will Power for that one. You come in at the speed limit, you swing as wide as you can, and then hit your pits. Just an innocent victim, unfortunately, being in the middle of the pits.
And the tape that they have tried to use to make repairs just didn't hold. It just flew off the side pod. So problems for Will Power here in his attempt to become the IZOD IndyCar champion for 2011. Not looking good for him at this next to the last event. It's been a 64-point swing. And one other thing we have to look at is the fact that Dario can now lead the most laps and pick up those 2 bonus points. Very, very important in the battle for the championship.
Now, Bob, someone, possibly like a Danica Patrick, someone could here fairly soon. They need quite a few more laps of yellow, but somebody might duck onto pit road and make a late stop, and it could pay later. Of course, we know that Will Power will do that because he's consistently been coming in trying to fix the car. If they finally get that fixed, he'll come in just before they go green, take fuel, might luck out and make it as the final stop.
Danica Patrick running in 9th position in her next to the last race in the IZOD IndyCar Series, Marty.
Yeah, well, for Dario Franchitti, now it becomes interesting when you talk about the championship battle. They have just informed him on the radio of what's going on with Will Power and all of his problems. They told him where Will is running. So I'm curious from Tags and Wally and Jan, now do you approach the race differently if you're Ganassi? Do you back off a little bit, play it a little more conservative, but you love that clean air too, don't you?
I don't think you back off, but it definitely takes a little bit of pressure off. I mean, you know, listen, when you're racing and one of your competitors, you're racing somebody for a championship and that competitor has a problem, you're very happy inside that car. And so, I mean, I think it just takes a little bit of pressure off you, knowing that, you know, your rival's having some issues in the pits.
Yeah, it takes pressure off, but you start hearing some weird noise in the car, and you hope that the luck will go with you. But I think, you know, as Ian was saying before, you know, Dario has a quick setup when he's running up front, and he's going to try all day long to stay right there.
Well, in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, the whole thing will come down to the World Championships. That will be at Las Vegas on October the 16th. Champion will be crowned. And, of course, Dan Weldon will take part in the challenge that could earn him and a fan $2.5 million each. You can see the IndyCar World Championships at Las Vegas, October 16th at 3 o'clock Eastern on ABC. Getting set for the restart. Double wide formation. It is Franchitti, Dixon, Andretti, Hildebrand, Ray Hall, Briscoe, Ryan Hunter-Ray, Ed Carpenter, Danica Patrick, and James Hinchcliffe in the top 10. Will Power is running in 23rd position. Field moves through turns 3 and 4. The acceleration by Dario Franchitti. Here we go again.
All clear, all clear.
Danica taking a peek to the inside of Ryan Hunter-Ray.
Dixon and Marco are about 1.5 back.
Franchitti takes off, leaving the side-by-side battle between Andretti and Dixon.
I think that's pretty good confirmation that he's on a low downforce setup. He just pulled away off the restart.
J.R. Hildebrand running fourth. Marco Andretti, of course, won on an oval this year in Iowa. Ed Carpenter and Graham Rahal are side by side for position. That is for sixth spot.
Ryan Briscoe, we were on board with him briefly. He, of course, has different colors this weekend, being blue and white, moving up. Just lost that spot to Ryan Hunter-Reay.
James Hinchcliffe working the top side. Top three stuck together very, very closely as Briscoe looks to the inside of Hinchcliffe now.
Boy, Marco's car, second in line there, is good in traffic.
And guys, back in the pack, you saw Ryan Hunter-Reay take that spot from Ryan Briscoe. This is when his car is really good at the beginning of a run. What he said before the first stop, it starts to fall off at the end of the run. So they tried to make several changes to it, making it better on all tires. And a lot of drivers feel like that's going to be a huge key late in the race. Battle back up front as Marco continues to try and get around Dario Franchitti.
And when Franchitti leads this next lap, he will have more laps led today than Will Power. This will be the 49th lap that Dario Franchitti has led.
Right there with you.
And this is the 11th race that Dario has led this year. He has led on every oval except the second race at Texas, where, of course, he started way back in 28th position. Boy, some good racing going on here, huh?
Yeah, Marco gets such a good run. As soon as he pulls out, though, the car just stops.
Oh, Hildebrand just drifted up high in the pink livery. You talked about that earlier, Bob. Recognizing the female military. 20% is the number of female military.
That opened the door for Ed Carpenter to go to fourth place. And we are already at the halfway point of our final race of the 2011 campaign. ABC with a broadcast at Las Vegas in 2 weeks.
Definitely a trend. If you're leading and you can stay low, nobody's getting by you, at least for now.
Franchitti has never won at this racetrack. His best finish here at Kentucky was 5th last year. His finishes have been 6th, 18th, 9th, 8th, 6th, and 5th. Franchitti leads here with 102 laps completed. But Marco Andretti is right there behind him, using a little bit higher line, and Scott Dixon is not too far behind. Dixon, don't forget, is also mathematically eligible for the championship.
Servia's coming back. Obviously made some good adjustment on his pit stop. Didn't have a great start. Now side by side with his teammate Hinchcliffe on the high side.
Good battle going on there. But up front, Dario continues to lead the laps. Liz Cannon is Mrs. Will Power. She does PR for Dreyer and Reinbold Racing, the car that Will had a collision with on pit lane. Dario Franchitti leads in the Kentucky Indy 300 here at Kentucky Speedway. Franchitti the leader, his Opponent in the points championship, Will Power, with a collision on pit lane. Power back in 23rd. The point spread, Franchitti by 28 over Will here at this moment in the race. Let's do another through the field. Marty.
Well, it looks easy when you're up in clean air, but every lap, Marco Andretti tries to get around Dario Franchitti. On the last stop, no changes for Dario. And the last time he started outside the top 10, he started 11th today, was this race last year. Finished 6th in that race, so he knows how to make his way to the front. Marco threatening every lap there, Lindy.
Yeah, right on his tail. Marco won at Iowa Speedway this year. He has never won a mile-and-a-half oval. This is his 99th start in IndyCar. He says he's disappointed. He's only had one win so far, and his dad, Michael, thinks pretty soon he's going to get to the point where he's going to be a major factor in every race. One crew change for him this weekend. His fueler is gone. He has a different guy. That guy he normally has a pinched nerve in his back.
Scott Dixon is back in third, and he keeps saying to Marco Andretti or Diz Spotter to tell Marco Andretti, Spotter, get in line. If we can get in line, we can pull away from that group behind us. That's what that front three is trying to do, Lindy.
Ed Carpenter starting fourth, got Sarah Fisher racing its best start ever. Team owner Sarah Fisher finally back at a racetrack with her husband Andy O'Gara with their newest addition, little Zoe Marie O'Gara, who was born September 13th.
Lindy, what a race for J.R. Hildebrand, having a terrific afternoon. He's coming off his best road course finish of the year, 7th at Motegi. The car has developed a push. You heard Jan say earlier, he went way high in the turn. That's because way too tight right now for J.R. Hildebrand. Lindy?
Graham Rahal is really struggling with understeer at the end of his stints. He's one to watch on fuel his last stop. They weren't necessarily going to take it all. They said, only tires, no matter if we have full fuel or not, drop it and go.
We told you Ryan Hunter-Reay was having problems with the car at the end of the run. That's what's happening right now. Too much of a push. He is trying his best to hang on to Graham Rahal's coattails, but it's tough to hang up there with that group. Behind him, Oriol Servia, who's starting to come forward. He's back behind Ryan Hunter-Reay, and the car was not good at Texas, the last mile-and-a-half racetrack, but this weekend, many changes, much better for he and his teammate James Hinchcliffe with Lindy. Kevin?
Hinchcliffe started in the third position, his best start of the season. He dropped back to 9th around that first pit stop. They picked up some debris on their tire, and that had something to do with them losing some time on pit road in their in and out laps. Back to you, Marty.
Kevin, at the end of the run, Charlie Kimball, too much of a push, he said. They made a change on the last stop. It has not helped it. The car is still pushing for Charlie Kimball, who told me this morning he was actually upset that he started the day 10th. He said we should have been much better. Lindy?
Wade Cunningham behind him. He has driven 4 lights races here. He won one of them. That was in 2009. He has not raced since Texas, but he says he's pretty comfortable back in the car because he was able to test here last week. And right behind him, the Indy 500 winner, Dan Welton, didn't start too well for him today. He had to start 28th. The car was so loose, he had to pit a few laps early as you see him battle with Danica there. He had to just come in and get some changes. Things looking better for him now, as you can tell.
Danica Patrick had worked his way up to 9th position, had dropped back to 14th, but as you see, she's starting to pick up some spots again. She has worked her way back up to the 13th position, so back in her comfort zone on the ovals. Danica Patrick might be a factor today.
And there you have the first 13. We will tell you that Will Power is back in 23rd position. There he is running basically by himself. He is the last car on the lead lap and now finds himself 28 points behind Franchitti in the battle for the season-long championship. And with Dario leading and taking the bonus points and Dixon third, Dario leads the A.J. Foyt Oval Championship by 1 point. We came into the race with Dixon leading, and now Dario is the leader in that race also. Stay with us. We'll be right back here on Versus.
IZOD at Facebook.com.
100 years of racing. To appreciate what that means, you need to start back in 1911, the inaugural Indianapolis 500-mile race. Ray Haroon won that year, and as he crossed the finish line that day on his Firestone tires, he surely had no idea what he was starting. A legacy of guts, grit,
and determination on big tracks and small, famous tracks and those not so famous. We raced, and we raced to win. Anywhere, any place, anytime. And over the years, as the cars got faster and the crowds grew bigger, a century passed. A century of building on the things we learned, of helping great men and women do great things. And still, it goes on. Because you see, just like old Ray would tell you, or Mario, or Al, Sam, or Elio, once you get that checkered flag fever, you can't shake it. You can only feed it. So what does it all mean? Looking back, it's pretty clear. Even after a century, there really is no finish line. Firestone, celebrating 100 years of racing.
At Kentucky Speedway, the top 6 cars are running within a second of each other. Franchitti, Andretti, Dixon, Carpenter, Hildebrand, and running 6th, Lindy, is Graham Rahal.
And Graham is chasing down Ed Carpenter and J.R. Hildebrand. Listen to what we heard over the radio during the break.
You saw him touch in front of you. You saw him touch. They're getting stupid up there. Feeling your toes. Watch your momentum with Ed and J.R. They're going to do something stupid. We got to be ready. Okay, you get a good run. Use your overtake and go with the faster car if that happens again.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's pretty close.
I hope they
Oh, here comes Graham. He's doing exactly that.
Inside with...
He has momentum.
Side by side with JR. Still there.
Rahal, Hinchcliffe, and Servia.
Down on the high side down here.
Now
side
he's
by
on the
side with
button.
him.
He didn't use the button initially, but now he's on it.
And guys, they actually told J.R. Hildebrand on the last lap, lay off the overtake. We got to save some for the end of the race. Man, this is a good battle, isn't it?
I have never been able, Alex Tagliani, to understand why. I mean, I'm going crazy up here, and the drivers will come out of a race saying, boy, that was fun. I'm having a heart attack.
I mean, looking at this, it's going to be crazy in Vegas because I really think that there's going to be more side-by-side running. You're probably 3 wide, very similar to what we had in Chicago. So watch out for the fans. I think Vegas should be a fantastic race.
All your adjustments still inside.
Well, it was Carpenter and Hildebrand a few laps ago. Now it's Rahal and Hildebrand.
Yeah, they're trying to side draft each other.
Not much room for error when you're doing that.
Oh, man. That's Hinchcliffe and Ryan Hunter-Ray right behind Rahal and Hildebrand. And again, this is...
He's a rookie, don't forget that. Inside.
5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th right there.
Lee Orbaugh he's great with his quotes as the spotter for Rahal.
We want to get to the bottom if we can. We need to save fuel. Clear.
See, with Marco opening the door like that, I'm surprised Dixon doesn't try to get underneath Marco and try to follow Dario through. Now, it almost looks like Dixon may have a little bit of a push in his car because he does slide up the racetrack a little bit, so maybe he can't get to the bottom.
And also, when you're following in turbulence, it's very difficult to stay on the tighter line, and you're asking a lot more from the right front tire because you will have push, but you're saving it more when you're using a wider line. So I think what Dixon is doing is riding with push, but not asking too much from the tire by keeping the car tight.
Underneath them, yep.
Ed Carpenter running 4th, Lindy.
The bolts have come out on the left side of his helmet. He is holding it with his left hand, driving with his right hand. When he comes into the pits, they're going to tape it up for him.
Wow, how much uncomfortable can that be?
Yeah, not very good.
Yeah.
Not at 217 miles an hour.
Boy, Dixon keeps fanning out there. If we can ever get to him, we can get under him.
Well, that's exactly what you were talking about, Wally. Well, he closed that gap once he got free, did Ed Carpenter.
Yeah. Yes, he did. And his car seems to be working pretty good down on the bottom.
Dario has already wrapped up the most laps led for this race. 85 and counting. Will Power still back in 23rd position. Should be seeing pit stops before too long. You think Andretti is a good car, Tag?
Yeah, it looks like, especially to run behind someone that close, you need to have a good mechanical amount of grip because the aero is almost none. And he's the one that pushes the least up the track in 3 and 4 over the bumps, so he looks pretty strong.
Keep coming, keep coming. You're okay, you're okay.
He has been dropping, and he's coming in, and they don't know what they're going to have to deal with here because they cannot hear him on the radio. You see they're going ahead and changing the tires. It doesn't look like they made any adjustments, and he's back out.
But some Sunoco fuel for Dan Weldon. Sunoco, proud manufacturer of ethanol.
Use your overtake, use your overtake.
And Anna Beatrice has come in. Looks like we had somebody hit. Kevin?
Simona Di Silvestro was coming down pit road, lost control, spun, and took out one of her crew guys. He did get up, though. The crewman has gotten up. 2 tires have been vaulted into the infield. She's made contact with the inside retaining wall in pit road. So we'll have to take a look at this, but I don't think anybody's hurt severely, but that was scary. The car was still rolling, and it hit one of her crewmen. Here's a look at the replay. Simona Di Silvestro coming down pit road. Jan, I'll let you talk over it as you see it from up top.
Wow. Now remember that Dan Weldon was on pit road when this happened, and if everyone else pits, he will go to the lead.
Well-timed pit stop for Dan Weldon. Here it is again.
She had been in the pits. She was leaving on cold tires. And that's obviously KV Racing, most likely EJ Viso's crew. So she had been on pit lane, was leaving on cold tires. The way Wally that it went, though, almost wondered if the rear might not have been tight. I'm not sure.
It went right first.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the thing got so much.
Pits are open. Everybody pits off.
Lindy's first interview of the day was with Rob Edwards. How do you try something crazy to get to the front? Well, if everyone pits ahead of Weldon, he will go to the lead. Now, it takes everyone ahead of you to pit for this to work.
Yeah, and hopefully he was close enough not to lose a lap. If he lost a lap while you pit on green, then it could be a problem. Don't you think, Ian?
Well, in any case, pits are open and pit stops are happening. Lindy.
Marco Andretti, no changes for him, was fast in the test, but he says this is where it matters. He is out in 8.4.
Watch player.
Scott Dixon, bottom of your screen, he said his car is pushy into the corner. When he comes off, it wants to snap loose.
Another problem on pit lane, Marty.
Another problem on pit road. Marco has a problem on pit road. He runs into a car, guys. For the Ganassi guys, clean pit stop. Dario Franchitti wins the race off pit road. But Kevin, a mess in front of you.
It's EJ Viso, Marco Andretti, and Alex Lloyd all coming in. I didn't see what started this one. They're turning Viso around. By the way, I'm still working on a crewman. It was from Viso's crew, as Jan mentioned. He's up and he's okay. He may have some minor injuries, but nothing really bad at this point, to the point where he's up and around and he's still trying to help his team. The crewman is from Viso's team, so we'll assess the damage here with these 3 cars. And there's a puncture in the side pod of Alex Lloyd's car, a significant puncture. They're going to shut that engine off, and they're pushing Marco Andretti back now.
Here's the Sunoco race off pit lane as Graham Rahal gains 3, Serbia up 5, Briscoe up 6. The big loser in that was Ed Carpenter, who lost 4 positions. Sunoco, proud manufacturer of ethanol. Boy, you just saw this coming with Marco Andretti.
3, 2,
as we watch J.R. Hildebrand. Man.
What is going on? It's safer out of 220 miles per hour than it is on the pit lane.
Man.
Wow.
And that was not cold tires.
Now here is the Marco situation. 3 wide here. Make that 4.
I don't understand any of that.
Yeah, Marco was coming out.
Well, it looked like he was trying to race Rahal out, but I mean they're 4 wide on pit lane.
Well, it sure has ruined a good race for Marco Andretti, who was running in 2nd spot. Let's look at some more replays of activity on pit lane.
Oh, well. So he almost gets into the back of Dario first.
Goes to the right of the pylon. Then has a relatively clean pit stop.
See, now watch Rahal. You'll see Rahal. It's almost like he's trying to race Rahal out.
Yep.
Oh, Rahal checks up, and yes. And the reason Graham checked up was because he saw Alex Lloyd trying to get for his stop.
I think Marco was thinking that Lloyd was leaving the pits and not coming in.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have to apologize because I do see an under mistake by jumping at conclusion when I saw Weldon coming in and out, but I forgot we're on ovals. We're not on street course. Laps are short, you know, and I didn't account for losing a lap on pitting on the green. I wanted to see the Bowers and Wilkins car go to the lead.
They work on Alex's Lloyd car, and Marco Andretti gets out of his car. Wow, all kinds of activity on pit lane here at Kentucky Speedway. We'll take a break and be right back. The green flag comes out, and we are back to racing at Kentucky Speedway. It is Dario Franchitti leading. Graham Rahal jumps into 2nd position. Dario Franchitti 3rd, then Hunter Ray, Serbia, Briscoe, Carpenter, Kimball, and others. Ryan Briscoe working the high line above Ed Carpenter and Danica Patrick, who's right in there also in 9th spot.
Now, Bob, this may get interesting because if there was not another yellow, you would go into fuel save mode, so you would not have to make another stop. If they were to run quickly here, they'd be at the moment 3 laps short. So at some point, someone is going to turn the wick off. And if it turns out that it's Franchitti, that'll bring everybody together.
3 wide racing here. Takuma Sato is there with Danica Patrick and Ryan Briscoe. And James Hinchcliffe.
God, don't you almost have to do that, Jan? If you're in the middle of the pack, you just got to start thinking about that now.
Yep.
All right, Kevin has some reports on medical conditions of crew members.
Well, the first of our 2 pit road incidents was Simona Di Silvestro. After she had made her pit stop on cold tires, she lost it, and she ran into a crew member with the 59 team, EJ Viso's team. It's DJ McMahon. He is the chief mechanic. He was up and walking around, but with a big limp, and he was carted off to go to the medical center. He gave a thumbs up. His family happens to be here, and he told them that he's okay, but obviously he's got some injury to deal with. Marty?
Kevin, the other incident was with J.R. Hildebrand's team. It is Eric Scheinman, the inside rear tire changer. He is awake and alert, and you see them working on him now, getting ready to take him to the infield care center. I can tell you he is in considerable pain, however, and it is his left leg. You see them immobilizing that right now in an effort to transport him to the infield care center and possibly a local hospital as well. Lindy?
Marco, where do you think the confusion was in that?
They were coming in, I was going out, but you know, my dad pointed out to me, he's probably right, that it was my fault because I bogged coming out of the pit box, and so that allowed Rahal to be next to me.
Okay, there's Marco's take on it, guys.
Yeah, like I say, it did ruin a very good race for Marco Andretti.
Make that move work. I think it will work. Inside.
Look at Graham Rahal trying to grab the lead away from Franchitti. Graham with a great run here this afternoon.
Would you not be trying to save fuel at the moment?
Well, I think if you're running up front, no. I mean, because you don't know what's going to happen. But if you don't, I think if you have a car that isn't fast enough to run up front, if you're sitting back there, you know, in the 10th, 12th, 15th spot, yeah, I would start saving fuel. I just don't know if you can afford to do it if you're running up front.
Correct.
You know.
And Wally, real quick, that's a dilemma for Dario Franchitti. They told him he's a few laps short on fuel, but he's got guys behind him pushing him. So, yeah, he would love to save fuel tags, but right now he's got to try and keep the lead. That's the biggest thing.
Well, Graham Rahal once again goes to the high side to try to get around Franchitti.
You can talk to Scott Harner up there, his spotter, and tell him we cannot make it to the end. If he wants to save a little more fuel, let us lead.
That's good negotiating. Hey, let me lead because you can't make it unless you get some help. That's good. I like it.
You think, yeah, you like it, but they're not going to buy it.
No, because the problem is you have a caution. All of a sudden, it's out the window,
right,
and you've just given up track position.
Graham has finished second twice this year at Brazil and in Milwaukee. He's running second right now.
And again, the calculations for someone like Dario running in the front is he's at least 3 laps short.
I see, if I was Rahal, I'd say, you know what, if you guys really need to save fuel, why don't you let me lead, draft off to me, you can save a little bit more fuel that way running second.
That's exactly what they're trying to sell.
Yeah.
We just need to stay in line.
Aren't they all teammates up here, guys? After all, they're all supposed to be getting along. They've told Dario we need 7 to 9 laps of caution to be able to make it all the way. So that's a big, mix of do you conserve or do you go and try and keep the clean air in the lead?
If it's that much.
Well, Marty, what happens is that the longer you wait to make that decision, they're going hard here, so they may have already made that decision.
Right. Dixie would like you to hold that center line just like that. That way you guys can pull away. That's a good draft position for Dixie behind you.
There you go. All 3 of those Ganassi cars talking to each other through the spotters.
About 42 laps to go in this 200-lap, 300-mile event at Kentucky Speedway, the Kentucky Indy 300.
TireRack.com is more than just an online tire resource. We're your one-stop online tire know-how, know-who, and know-what. With TireRack's online research tools, you'll know you're getting exactly the right tires for you, your car, and the way you drive it. Speaking of that, know what else? Our prices are practically unbeatable. And that's all you need to know. Buy your next tires at Tire Rack and experience how we're revolutionizing the way you buy tires. TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install.
Living with diabetes is a reality for me, but I learned that I don't have to use a vial and syringe as part of my daily routine anymore. My doctor showed me the Novolog Mix 70/30 FlexPen. FlexPen is discreet and comes pre-filled with my insulin. FlexPen goes with me and doesn't need refrigeration and is covered by most insurance.
If you're still using a vial and syringe, ask your healthcare provider about the benefits of FlexPen. FlexPen is a discreet, pre-filled dial-a-dose insulin pen. You can dial the exact dose of insulin you need and inject insulin by pressing a button. Novolog Mix 70/30 is an insulin used to control high blood sugar in adults with diabetes. Do not inject if you do not plan to eat within 15 minutes to avoid low blood sugar. Tell your healthcare provider about all medicines you take and all of your medical conditions, including if you are pregnant or breastfeeding. Most common side effects include reactions at the injection site, weight gain, swelling of your hands and feet, and vision changes. Other serious side effects include low blood sugar and low potassium in your blood. Get medical help right away if you experience serious allergic reactions, including body rash, trouble with breathing, fast heartbeat, sweating, or if you feel faint. FlexPen is made by Novo Nordisk, a healthcare company committed to diabetes care for nearly 90 years.
I've made FlexPen part of my routine, just like spending time with my family. Ask your healthcare provider about Novolog Mix 70/30 FlexPen today.
Learn more about the different insulins available in FlexPen at myflexpen.com. FlexPen, insulin delivery that goes with you.
Welcome back to Kentucky Speedway Lap 163, a race where we have had a lot of incidents in pit lane. One of those with Simona Di Silvestro. I have Simona here with me. What can you tell me?
Yeah, we don't know. We pitted and we had fuel pressure issues, and then the engine wasn't firing up well. And when I took off, it just all of a sudden went crazy. And I really have to apologize for the KV guys because that was pretty bad. But
you're seeing it for the first time.
I know it's pretty bad. I'm really sorry. I really don't know what happens, but it is what it is. And we had a pretty good race going. I think confidence was coming up, and just have to go to the next one, and have to take nuclear clean energy and Interchange for all their effort this year, but yeah, I'm really sorry for the KV crew.
How does something like that affect your confidence?
Well, it's not really anything you can do about it, you know. It just, you know, when your car all of a sudden goes full throttle and you're on the speed limiter and it just keeps going, you know, it's a bit crazy. So I don't know. It's nothing I could have done differently. So it is what it is. You know, we'll see what happens.
Thanks, Simona. We have a crash. Anna Beatrice, Bob.
Anna Beatrice in the wall, bringing out.
All right, guys, you okay? Be up.
Another caution.
Which is why you never give up a position.
Be a copy, you okay?
Because now they may be good to go because this will take a while.
Looked like a big hit for Anna. The Homatro safety team quickly to the scene of the crash. Professionals of the safety team know exactly what to do in situations like this, and I'm sure you can speak to the fact, Alex, that it's kind of comforting knowing that they know exactly what to do when you have a problem.
Yeah, when you come to a racetrack and you cross into them into the paddock, you always say, I don't want to see you guys this weekend, but you know, if you have an issue like this and they're around you, I think you feel pretty safe, and creating good relationship over the years with those guys. When they come to you, I think, you know, you can sense their professionalism, and Dr. Trammell being there, you know, and all these guys are really good around racetracks.
Dr. Trammell is one of the physicians on scene there, along with Dr. Olinger. Well, obviously it was a big hit. We saw the safer barrier and the length that she traveled after hitting.
Was Dan Weldon was in the frame, certainly low.
Tire gets up under the front end of the car. Here's another angle. This is from J.R. Hildebrand's perspective.
Okay, so no, Dan was not involved.
Yeah, she was sideways.
Pits are open. Pits are open. We pit off of 4.
Annie getting some assistance from the doctors as she gets into the Phillips emergency vehicle to take a ride to the infield care center to see if she will require further medical attention at some other location. Anna's best finish this year came at Toronto. She was 11th.
Bob, you heard on the radio that the pits were open. I would not suspect anyone would pit because this will take long enough to clean up to where you should have enough fuel to get to the end.
Not exactly the way that we had hoped that would happen, but nevertheless, it is lap number 169, just about 30 to go. Graham Rahal is making a pit stop.
Doesn't think he has enough.
Yeah.
He must have really been pushing hard, or, oh, we heard a report from pit lane that the previous stop, they said, don't wait for the fuel. When the tires are done, drop it off and go. Remember, we had that report from pit lane. If they did that, they weren't full. Boy, that bites you.
That's just, I mean, every time he comes into pit lane this year, something happens with Graham.
That's enough fuel, guys.
Will Power makes a pit stop. Will, if you're just joining us, had a problem on pit lane with a collision with Anna Beatrice and has dropped him way back in the standings at the race, and he is now 28 points behind Franchitti in the battle for the Series Long Championship. 30 to go. We'll be right back. The cleanup at the scene of the Anna Beatrice crash continues, and we are under caution here with less than 30 laps remaining in the Kentucky Indy 300. We saw Graham Rahal make a pit stop for fuel, and we also eavesdropped on his radio conversation. Graham is not a happy person.
Can someone explain to me why we didn't fulfill to make it to the end? We're not sure yet. I need a serious explanation at the end of this race if they're good to go and we're not because we short filled. Talk to Dickie Spotter. They're not sure either. He did the same kind of strategy. So just save, Graham. We won't have to worry about it.
So Graham Rahal not happy about the fact that they short-filled him earlier, and he had to make another pit stop to get topped off for the end of the race. Kevin?
Tried to talk with Tim Keene just a moment ago. He calls strategy for Graham Rahal. As you can imagine, it's not a real happy moment right now. He just waved me off and said, no, we're not talking right now. Marty?
All right, let's talk to Chip Ganassi, and you needed 7 to 9 laps of caution. Think that's going to be long enough to get you to the end, Chip?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so.
Come on, Chip, you can play poker better than that. Come on.
Well, you know, there's a long way to go here yet in the race, so nothing's, you know, anything can happen. We just want to, you know, we want to get as many points as we can.
All right, and that would be including getting more than willpower, which they've already done today. And they are telling them on the radio, both Scott Dixon and Dario Franchitti doing very good with the fuel, but they still need to save a little bit more. But the longer this goes, guys, the better position it puts the Ganassi guys in.
You are right about that. All right, let's take a look at what's going to happen in 2 weeks in the period leading up to the 2-week race. On Wednesday, an autograph station in Las Vegas, a parade and kickoff party on Thursday. Friday, celebrity and VIP blackjack and qualifying for both the Indy cars and the Indy Lights. And then Saturday, a concert featuring Good Charlotte. Sunday, there is also a concert that will feature Los Lonely Boys. And of course, we will have the final Firestone Indy Lights race and the final IZOD IndyCar Series race to determine the champion. And the big IndyCar Championship celebration banquet is on Monday night, the 17th. What about Vegas, Tag?
Well, we'll be back in the saddle. Danny will drive the two-time pole car again to try to win that race. So it'll be 2 Bowers and Wilkins car on the racetrack, and I guess we'll drive with nothing to lose. And normally when you're in Vegas and you play with nothing to lose, it's a pretty good show. So thanks to all the fans with all their support this week. So don't forget to tune in. It should be a pretty interesting race.
Thanks for joining us here in the booth, Alex Tagliani. Wade Cunningham is having a great race. He is running in 6th spot right now. A tip of the hat to Wade Cunningham for a great race here this afternoon. Right behind him is James Hinchcliffe running in 7th position. Kevin?
James Hinchcliffe has been quick today. He was 3rd going into the first pit stop, came out in 10th position. He just simply got caught in traffic. He had to whoa it up to avoid running into somebody. Same thing, 2nd pit stop. He had an opportunity still to get some positions back, but was caught in the melee in that last incident on pit road. So maybe we can still watch on Hinchcliffe to be a factor. Dario Franchitti leads here at Kentucky.
Every week, Versus dives deep into the NFL. Go inside the locker room and on the field to see and hear which turning points alter this week's most important games. NFL Turning Point, Thursday night after NHL, here on Versus. As we are about to complete our 3rd season of covering the IZOD IndyCar Series, we are about to go back to racing here at Kentucky Speedway. Ed Carpenter, although he has finished 2nd here the last 2 times, he has never won a race. It's been 113 starts for Ed. Vitor Meira has had 130 starts and is looking for his first win. And E.J. Viso, 65 starts, so hoping for his first victory.
20 laps to go, Tags. Nobody plays nice with 20 laps to go.
Not on the double foul restart.
Teammates are side by side for the restart. Franchitti to the inside and Scott Dixon to the inside as we will get the green flag on lap number 178. Carpenter is 3rd. Ryan Hunter-Reay running 4th. Oriol Servia 5th. Wade Cunningham 6th. Hinchcliffe, Briscoe, Kimball, and Patrick are the top 10. A beautiful side-by-side formation as they come off the corner. And we're restarting here at Kentucky with 23 to go.
Behind you. Don't let him inside. Let him
look at Ed Carpenter. What a great start. And here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay to the inside of Dixon.
Clear by half. Clear by 1.
Let's watch Ed Carpenter running right with Franchitti. And Ryan Hunter-Reay is running right with Scott Dixon. Ariel Serbia right there in the blue number 2. And then Cunningham.
And on that restart, the overtake lights lit up like a Christmas tree. Everybody was on that button, with the exception, of course, Cunningham, who's used them all already.
2 cars trying to look outside.
He has none left, and he is still racing.
Yeah, he's looked very, very good.
And Jan, of course, before that caution, before the green flag came back out, every strategist down here told the drivers, don't use the overtake. We're really close on fuel. The drivers never listen, do you, Wally?
No. And I think a lot of times they say that hoping that some other team might think, oh, they're not using it, maybe I shouldn't. But no one fell for it. They were all on it.
Yeah, these guys did run. Carpenter's got a pretty good run there.
This is excellent.
Carpenter on the outside of Dario Franchitti in turns 3 and 4. Can he get the lead from the now leading contender for the championship this year?
Wow, look at him go.
Still there. Keep digging.
And he really doesn't really need to get all the way by. He just needs to make sure he's a little bit ahead when he crosses the finish line.
Oh, he's got that momentum on the high side.
Stick with it.
Great side-by-side racing here at Kentucky.
This is where it counts right here. This is where you want to be good, right, Tax? Right across the start-finish line.
Yeah, it looks like he has a fantastic car on the outside lane, and he's the one that's been challenging Dario the best at the moment. And I think this will count when you get inside the last 5 laps, because the tires of Dario are not going to be as good. It's going to be harder to keep the inside, and you will have a very good slingshot on the outside for maybe the finish.
And how much push passes you have left. Right now, Franchitti has 14 to Carpenter's 8.
Yeah, 10-4. Race ahead, buddy.
I think in about 2 laps, Dario will use 1 every lap.
Yeah.
He's got a nose ahead.
Stick with it here.
Sarah Fisher
get him next time down the backstretch.
Gave up racing to be a car owner. She's looking for her first victory in the IZOD IndyCar Series. And husband Andy O'Gara and the newly arrived Zoe Marie.
And if you look at Ed Carpenter's helmet, it appears as though they were able to get tape on that to keep that visor down. So he doesn't have to hold it with his hand now. It's been taped on the pit stop.
Got an overtake for every lap here now. 14 to go. Still.
And Bob, I was flying up here with Tim Cindric from Penske Racing, and he said, you watch, the guy to beat this weekend might just be Ed Carpenter. He said, I have no idea why he's good at this track. He said he was excellent in the test here last week, but at the end of the race, he'll be there, and look where he is. He's there battling for the lead. And the one thing Ed told me this morning, before we did our interview, he said, I just want a shot to win this race straight up. No strategy. I want to beat someone straight up on the racetrack. And look at him, side by side for the lead. 13 to go.
Good stuff. Carpenter with his 8th start here at Kentucky. Twice a runner-up.
Now we're pulling him a little.
You're right, Tag. He's used one. Frankitti's used one every single lap. Now Carpenter's just used one. I'm surprised. I thought he would wait until the last few laps before he would use them. Frankitti's got more than Carpenter.
Great job. You led that lap. Let's go get it now.
Carpenter given credit for leading the lap. He's our 4th leader of the afternoon.
I think Carpenter is continuously keeping him really low. And that's hard for Dario.
There's Ed's wife, Heather.
Still out there.
Well, you're right, Tag. See, he's really not giving Dario much room. And that's a good move for Carpenter.
Still there. You're pulling him a little.
Just squeeze him every little bit you can.
Now look what happens when they run side by side. 3rd place, that group is starting to close in because they'll run much slower side by side. Scott Dixon starting to close in.
Scott Dixon's got his hands full with Hunter Ray right now.
Scott Dixon is not going to want to help Carpenter. If he goes up right behind Carpenter, that will help his car.
I don't think Dixon can run as low as Franchitti has. He hasn't all day long.
Our bed's made. We want to stay right there, baby. Got some guys come behind you, but they're not going anywhere. Good job. Led that lap. Let's go.
Will it be that way on the 200th lap? We've only got less than 9 laps to go. Scott Dixon in third, looking strong.
But if Scott Dixon gets too close, it'll help Carpenter, taking it, giving the advantage away from his teammate.
Dixon's closing up. Good job. We led that one. Keep going.
Will Power hopes that Ed Carpenter or anybody but Dario Franchitti can win this race with the points as tight as they are.
Side on your quarter.
That puts you in a tough spot when you're Dixon. You can't run the low line to help your teammate. You've got a fast race car. You don't want to help somebody beat your teammate.
Guys, that's exactly what Scott Dixon just said on the radio moments ago. I want to help Dario. I can't get there. He's going to have to do this on his own.
The first 8 cars are running within a second of each other with the closing laps here at Kentucky. 2 by 2 for first and second and third and fourth. And Wade Cunningham looks like he might come up to challenge James Hildebrand for 5th position. They're going to go side by side.
6 to go. Stick with it.
Now they're even on overtakes, Franchitti and Carpenter. So now it's really who plays it just at the right time, right in this area, on the last lap.
Advantage just went to Hinchcliffe in
5 laps, 5 overtakes.
In that 5th position. And this would be a big payday for him, running for the Rookie of the Year points, because Hildebrand is way back.
Overtake that Dario does.
Hildebrand running 20th. Will Power, by the way, is 19th. The point spread is 18.
Still outside, still there.
Carpenter and Franchitti continue to battle side by side and wheel to wheel for the victory with 4 laps to go.
4 to go. Stick with it.
Tell you what, though, Carpenter seems to be getting to the start-finish line ahead of Franchitti every lap. Wow. Oh, blanket over those guys now.
That's something. 3 to go when they cross the line.
3 to go. 3 laps, 4 overtakes.
And you know, Carpenter kept Dario down coming off of 4. And did you see how much he had getting off of 4? If he can keep squeezing Dario down, it's going to be tough for Dario to beat him to the start-finish line.
Just telling you, you're smart here. We're all right.
I think the only chance that Dario has is on the last lap going into 3 and 4. He has to crank some weight jacker to the left, free up the car for the inside. If not, you will make.
And maybe just a little move over to Carpenter, you know, just to try to break the.
Less than 3 miles of racing
Dixon's
continue.
On the outside there. Probably shouldn't count him out just yet.
Yeah.
Servius trying to join his teammate, Hinchcliffe.
All right, white flag here.
All right, 1 more lap to go.
Carpenter led that lap.
Stick with it, buddy. You can do this.
Now watch Scott Dixon as he's going to take a look to the outside.
Now Franchitti's out of push to passes, and Carpenter has 1 lap.
Oh, that could be the difference. They go down the backstretch and race into turn number 3.
Overtake.
Will Ed Carpenter be able to get his first win in the IZOD IndyCar Series? Here they come to the line, and it is
Carpenter.
Ed Carpenter wins. How about that?
That was good stuff.
He finally does it. 2nd place the last 2 years, and Ed Carpenter gets the victory. Oh, man, what a finish.
Nice job, Eddie. Beautiful day for a multi-car race. Good job, buddy. Oh, what a beautiful sight. How about that, babies?
How could you not like that race?
Thanks for sticking with me, taping my shield on. Everything, man. We worked for that one.
Sarah Fisher gets the win. Sarah Fisher Racing. Heather Carpenter knows her husband is going to be a little richer after this one. Here's the finish and how close it was. We saw this play out the last 2 years, and Ed was about that far behind. This year, Ed is that far ahead. Lindy.
And his wife has been through this, the highs and lows here at Kentucky Speedway. He said he had a good feeling this time. Guess he was right.
Words can't describe
how much this means. I'm so happy for Sarah and Andy and just Ed. Oh my gosh, he's needed this. I can't even talk.
How bad did he need this?
You don't know what it means. It's awesome. I'm going to go congratulate him.
Go do it. And maybe Zoe was a good luck charm for this team as well.
And Ed Carpenter is about to pull into victory lane in the IZOD IndyCar Series for the first time. His drought is over. He is among the winners in this series. It's the 6th closest finish in IZOD IndyCar Series history. The average speed of the race with 3 cautions for a total of 32 laps was 174.04 miles an hour. There's Andy.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good to see a team like that win a race.
It is.
It can be done.
Got congratulations there from Dennis Reinbold, one of the owners of Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. This kid came up through the sprint and midget car ranks with the United States Auto Club. There are Dario Franchitti and Scott Dixon, who finished 2nd and 3rd. Dario 2nd, and the points difference is 18. Dario leads by 18 going to Kentucky. Here are the closest finishes in Kentucky Speedway history. Carpenter today takes the top honor. Ryan Briscoe beat Ed Carpenter by that much in 2009. Fernandez had a couple of close wins, as did Felipe Giafoni in his first IZOD IndyCar Series victory. You really got to feel the emotion that Ed Carpenter has going through his body. Ed becomes the 274th driver to score a win in American open wheel racing dating back to 1909.
Well, Ed Carpenter taking a moment to soak this in, get a kiss from his wife, Heather, and he gets out victorious here in IndyCar. It took 113 tries, but Ed Carpenter finally did it, and he's going to go hug his wife, Heather, one more time and give a high five to all the crew who will ride along as he soaks in this moment of finally being a winner. You told me this morning you wanted to win it straight up. You wanted no strategy to be a part of this. This is a reality match, the dream you've had all these years.
It felt way better than I ever thought it was going to feel. I mean, Dario raced me hard and clean. I knew we had a better car than him. The 2nd or 3rd stint. It was a weird race, man. My visor was falling off one of the stints. We had all sorts of stuff going on, but the Dollar General team made changes all day to the car. Just an awesome day for Dollar General, Angie's List, Fuzzy's Vodka, everyone involved.
Tell me about that visor thing. Did you think, oh man, is this what's going to ruin our chance?
I wasn't going to let a visor coming off stop me from winning the race. No. I drove 15 or 20 laps one-handed holding it on my helmet till a pit stop. So just so proud to be a part of this team. Great organization, Andy, Sarah, and I can't thank my wife enough for supporting me all these years to get to this point. It's taken a long time to get our first win, but it's finally here and it feels unbelievable.
All right, Ed, I got to ask you about that restart. How did you gun past Dixon so quickly? And then the strategy in the final few laps. How long were you trying to set up what would be the pass for the win?
We had really good restart gears. I'd been getting good restarts all day. Dixon was struggling around the bottom, so I figured I'd be able to stay underneath him if I got a good start.
There's a restart right there?
Yeah, the window opened up. He didn't get a great run. I think he was hoping to be able to just follow in behind Dario, and it didn't happen. So just tucked right in, and then I started racing Dario because we were faster, and then had to check one time just to make sure we had enough fuel to go to the end. And then I think it was about 9 laps to go when I knew I could beat him. I set it up, used a push to pass, and they got it to where I had one more push to pass than him and used him the last 5 laps, and it worked.
Well, he told me earlier, he said, if I can't win an Indy, I would love to win here at Kentucky. It's my 2nd home, and they pull it off. They go to victory lane. You see him with the entire family. What a win for the Carpenter family. Kevin?
Dario Franchitti comes home 2nd, but picks up A lot of points, 18 up now in the championship. That was highly entertaining. You guys could not have put on much better of a show.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it too. I enjoyed it more had I beaten Ed, but he did a great job there. I had to use my overtakes to keep him at least alongside me. I couldn't let him clear me, and so I used my overtakes early because if he'd cleared me, it was all over. So he just came up just a fraction short, but great points day. The Target boys were dynamite in the pits today, absolutely dynamite again. And you know, I got an email from Barry and Michael Wanzer up in Indy earlier to just do your best today, and that's what we all did. And I hope you saw your name on the car, Iron Man Mike, because that was for you. And we're going to go to Vegas next week, and we're going to try and win the big one. But if we've learned anything throughout years of racing and shown again today, how quickly these things can change. Let's say congratulations to Ed Carpenter, man. Him and Sarah Fisher racing, he drove a hell of a race.
A different entry into the finale. Dario Franchitti will go in as the leader, looking for his 4th championship. Marty?
Well, Kevin, it's going to be hard-pressed. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a more popular win this year than this one with Sarah Fisher racing. She's hugged everybody on the crew. There's no one left, Sarah. I can't imagine. What were your emotions watching this from the suite? You couldn't be down here. That was probably worse, or was it better?
I don't know. You know, just to see Ed drive his tail off was just so amazing. You know, we figured out next year that Dollar General's not coming back, so maybe they'll change their mind now. But you know, certainly it was a great weekend. The guys really worked their tail off. I haven't been in the shop in 3 weeks. I just gave birth to my little baby girl, where she's.
I don't know who Zoe is.
She's obviously good luck, but you know, when you have someone join your family, you think of families like the Wanzer family, and this is definitely for them. And for Gary Hall, we're just so happy to be here.
Well, for you to win here, this is really your second home, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Ed's too. You know, Ed, he has done a tremendous job for us at Indy, leading laps at Indy, and you know, we put all 100% of our focus on the big ovals, and it's paying off.
All right, there's one person you haven't congratulated yet. You can interrupt this interview, so go ahead and congratulate Ed. Let's hear what you have to say to him. You can jump in there.
Being professional.
Boss, where's Zoe?
Oh, she's here. She's back there.
That was the first question. Where's Zoe?
She's wrapped up.
I don't know who was. He was probably concentrating, but you were probably pacing up there, weren't you? Oh, there's Zoe.
There she is.
High five for Zoe.
Oh, gosh.
She might be your team good luck charm now.
She is our good luck charm now.
Congratulations. Very popular win, Sarah. We're all happy for all of you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Sarah and the baby Zoe celebrating in victory lane, Lindy.
Just caught up with Will. What a day and what a fight for you here. First, Will, talk about what happened with Anna.
Yeah, they just sent her into me. I mean, there's nothing I can do about that one. I was, man, we had the quickest car. We had an unbelievably fast car. After that happened, it tore a hole in the side pod and lost 4 miles an hour. Yeah, that was that.
And then it's just a fight after that, finished 19th.
Yeah, it was just even a fight just to hang on the back of the field. I mean, the car was still handling really well. It just had no speed. I mean, it had so much drag. It was just impossible.
What about off the start? Were you surprised that so quickly Dario ended up leading this one?
Well, I wasn't surprised he ended up leading, but I don't think he was as quick as we were. I mean, our car was really fast. I mean, you saw in that first stint we were able just to pull away. You can hardly ever do that in a mile and a half. So, yeah, I was expecting those guys to end up at the front, no question. But I wasn't expecting us to have a day like we had, lose so many points with so much potential. But that's racing, and come back at Vegas.
Does this put Liz in a weird spot since she works with Dreyer and Reinfeldt?
Yeah, hey, it's what it is. Yep. It's racing. No, you can't do anything about it now.
You heard it from Will Power, Bob.
Will Power ends up in 19th position as Franchitti finishes in 2nd spot. In his 113th start, Ed Carpenter beats Franchitti with the 6th closest finish in IZOD IndyCar Series victory to take the win here at Kentucky Speedway today.
The Kentucky Indy 300 on Versus is brought to you by Sunoco, fueling victories on and off the track. Here's to victory. And by Honda, the engine supplier for the IZOD IndyCar Series.
The victory lane celebration continues as Ed Carpenter has won his first IZOD IndyCar Series event by 10/100ths of a second over Dario Franchitti. Let's listen to his last lap on radio.
Go, let's go, let's go. Pull, baby, pull. Pull, baby, pull. Pull, baby. Yes! Yes! Guys, thank you so much. Woo! Nice job, Eddie. Beautiful day for the Monte-Carlo race. Good job, buddy. Oh, what a beautiful sight. How about that, babies? Thank you, guys. Thanks for sticking with me, taping my shield on. Everything, man. We worked for that one. Great changes.
And that's what he was talking about as they came to the line. Ed on the high side of Dario Franchitti. And finally, Ed gets a victory. All right, let's talk to Scott Dixon, who, by the way, has won the A.J. Foyt Oval Championship by 10 points over his teammate Dario.
Yeah, congratulations. You pick up the A.J. Foyt Oval Championship. Let's talk about first what you just saw for the first time, and you had a good vantage point at the end. The finish, you're up on the high side because you couldn't get down low to push Dario.
Yeah, I couldn't run. You know, all day I was pretty much stuck to the middle or high line. When I got to the bottom, I just pushed right up, and then I was kind of loose on the high line. So it was kind of it was a crazy day. You know, it was very hard to complete passes, try and get past people. If you got shuffled back, you kind of have to wait for somebody to lift if they got into the same circumstances. So, you know, good day for Team Target, obviously second and third. Huge day in points with Will finishing further back. So bring on Vegas. You know, obviously I think I'm out of the points chase now. Dario might be 55 points ahead, but all in all a good day, and thanks for everybody for coming out today and all the fans for watching.
We love this racing. What about from the cockpit? Is it stressful? Are you ready to be done with it as soon as possible?
Yeah, it does get stressful. You know, for me more today, for some reason I took my car 3 or 4 or 5 laps to get going, and I was flat, but on the restarts I just totally get hosed. So I don't know if we had a wrong gear in there for the restarts or something, but that was a bit frustrating. And then when you got beside somebody, you couldn't complete it. But you know, it's what we got at the moment. It's what we got to deal with, and it's still extremely tough racing, but you know, not the way that you'd want to do it.
All right, still a good day for Scott Dixon. He comes home third. Lindy?
James Hinchcliffe, your last mile and a half was Texas. Not so good. Night and day here. What changed?
Yeah, I mean, it was our worst race of the year. So when we saw the schedule looking at 2 mile and a half to finish off the season, we were really nervous. But, you know, credit to the Newman Haas guys. They worked so hard to make sure that we didn't have a repeat of the problems we had in Texas, and rolled off strong, qualified our best qualifying of the year, which was great. And in the race, you know, we were racing, and we had a bunch of problems in the pits. All 3 pit stops, we lost positions for various reasons, and, you know, not all our fault, sometimes just sort of circumstance. But we had a great car. We got back on those restarts and were able to sort of get up to those packs and race our way through, guys. So huge credit to the team. Got to thank them so much. It was a lot of fun out there.
And your teammate says you don't act like a rookie, doesn't think you are. Do you feel like one real quick?
I mean, I do. I mean, I'm there the last couple laps, and it's Dario, it's Dixon, it's Hunter Ray, it's Carpenter. I'm thinking, you know, I've watched these guys for years. I shouldn't be racing with these guys right now, but...
And here you are finishing 4th among them.
And here we are.
Yeah, over to you, Marty.
Well, for Graham Rahal, not the way you wanted to end the race. What did you have to say to Chip after the race?
Nothing. I mean, it's nothing that needs to be discussed here. You know, honestly, you know, the guys did a great job this weekend. Service Central car was quick. You know, we ran up front and didn't get the result we deserved.
This is twice, though, on pit road in the last few weeks.
You know, we just got to look towards next year, and we'll come back stronger.
What do you do now as a driver to try and make things right, and as a leader of the team?
No, I mean, I don't think it's anything like that. I mean, we had a quick car today. As we go to Vegas, we're going to have a quick car. And, you know, like I said, it's all part of the building experience. But, you know, I know that we've got the speed to run up front. You know, quite frankly, there at the end, I was just trying to help Dario. I mean, I think we may have been a little bit quicker if we were on the bottom, but, you know, really just trying to save some fuel and knowing that we were going to be 30 laps short or something. So, you know, really doing what I can. Dixon, I think the 3 of us were working really well. Dixon said, hey, tell Graham take the middle lane, Dario will be on the bottom, and I'll hang right underneath him. And, you know, it worked for a long time, but unfortunately we didn't have enough fuel.
I know it's been frustrating, but you've had fast cars lately.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as a team, I'm really proud of the Service Central boys because, you know, we've been up front now. So it's got to come our way eventually.
See you in Vegas.
Thanks.
Graham Rahal finishes in 12th position as Ed Carpenter continues to celebrate, talking with members of the media for his first win of his IndyCar career. Let's take a look at the finish of the race. James Hinchcliffe, that we just talked to, he finishes 4th. That equals his best finish at Long Beach and Loudon. And he also now leads Rookie of the Year points by 6 over Hildebrand. And Wade Cunningham, who finished 7th, also had his career best finish. Danica Patrick came home in 10th position. There were 19 cars on the lead lap when the checkered flag fell. Will Power, who had the problem earlier on pit lane, was the last car on the lead lap. Take a look at 21 through 29. Elio Castroneves with another disappointment here today. Marco Andretti had a very strong car, but he too had a problem with pit lane. Well, Sarah Fisher also celebrating her first victory in this series, wiping the tears. It's a great celebration here at Kentucky Speedway. Next to last race has completed here at Kentucky Speedway for the 2011 season, and Ed Carpenter wins for the first time in his career. Let's get closing thoughts from the gang. First of all, here's Kevin.
Bob, I had the pleasure of being our international correspondent this year. First a trip to Brazil in late April and early May, and just a couple of weeks ago to Japan. And the trip to Japan, I had more of an opportunity to visit with others. On Monday, we went to Tokyo, got a chance to visit with people and see the sights, and also saw Takuma Sato and what kind of rock star he is. Everywhere he went, there was a mass of people following him, but it was not just Sato. These Japanese fans knew IndyCar drivers. They knew the series. They were here to see the race. It was a great opportunity to see what these people have experienced, and I think it also showed that it's safe to go back to Japan. That's something that Randy Bernard mentioned, that we wanted to show that it's okay to go back. Great opportunity to see a new culture and visit with people, and hopefully we'll go back to Japan sometime again in the future. Marty?
Tell you what, Kevin, the moment for me may have just happened with that Carpenter winning here. What a terrific finish it was today here at Kentucky. But honestly, the biggest moment for me, the Indianapolis 500 this year. A terrific story unfolding at the very end of the race. J.R. Hildebrand, the rookie, about to win, and then he crashes in turn 4 unexpectedly, to the awe of many in America watching on TV at home and everybody at the Speedway as well. And then who comes around to win? Our good buddy Dan Weldon. He wins in the Indianapolis 500 again. Of course, then after that, he had to come work with us on Versus, so that may have been a downgrade in pay a little bit. But I think Dan's story of winning the Indianapolis 500 and the chance that he could go to Las Vegas and win $5 million for he and a fan 2 weeks. I tell you what, that's a pretty cool story for me. The Indy 500, by far for me, Lindy, the best story of the year.
Yeah, and Marty, we just saw emotion like that from Sarah Fisher Racing Team. And, you know, we go into most IndyCar qualifying days thinking there's a pretty good chance a powerhouse team is going to pull off pole position, and Indy is no different. But this year, we witnessed a Cinderella story. We saw tears run down the face of Sam Schmidt. We saw Alex Tagliani experience the most prestigious moment of his career, and I heard cheers louder from any team I ever have, except maybe Ed's today. Not only did Tag pull off 4 perfect laps in the morning to qualify, he did it again in the Fast 9 shootout that afternoon. And that young race team of Sam Schmidt Motorsports overcame the odds. Tag got to lead the field into turn 1 during the Centennial, and the team owner said, even though I cannot drive a race car anymore, that doesn't mean that my racing dreams cannot come true. And Tom Carnegie, the PA announcer for 6 decades, would have certainly loved that, Robin.
Right, Lindy. 2 other good stories this year. Iowa and Baltimore. Iowa's become one of the staples of the IndyCar Series. A lot of great fans. They get there early, they stay late. They wear T-shirts with the drivers, IndyCar drivers on them. They knew who the drivers are. They watch the races on TV. And Baltimore was the wild card. We didn't know what the East Coast was going to be like. We go to the East Coast for the first time in Baltimore. Fans are there every day, all day. They really got into it. They stuck around for the Victory Lane celebration. Hopefully they're going to grow that into one of the best street races in the country. Wally?
Hey, Robin, this year's been a blast. I mean, I know you said at the beginning of the year you'd like to see a little bit of hate. We saw a lot of emotions. That's what this sport needed. We need to see drivers with emotions. I think what's impressed me the most is the competition in IndyCars. It is so close. You've got the super teams of Penske and Ganassi, but there's a lot of guys out there that have been very, very competitive. Will Power's done it all this year, but I've got to take my hat off to a guy that's won 3 championships, Dario Franchitti. He just keeps digging, and he is the man to beat week in and week out.
course, there are huge changes on the horizon, of course, for the series with a brand new car and engine competition. And of course, I had a chance to go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this week and witness that testing. And I can tell you, it is a huge collective effort between manufacturers, vendors. There is so much work and forethought that has gone through this process. And I can tell you, I agree with Dan Weldon. I think the fans are going to love this car, and they have a winner. Bob?
It is hard to believe, but in just a few moments, we're going to wrap up our third of 10 seasons of covering the IZOD IndyCar Series. We, of course, want to thank all the series officials, the drivers, and the crew members for making our job pretty easy in covering this series. We also, of course, want to thank the viewers because your comments, good or bad, improve our race coverage. So another cold in most areas of the country. Winter will come and go. Mother Nature will awaken from her hibernation, and before you know it, we will indeed be back at it just another time. We, all members of this IZOD IndyCar Series team, will look forward to those days next year, because when you get right down to it, we're just a bunch of kids having fun playing in a thrill-a-minute, 200-mile-an-hour candy store. We will be back to wrap things up here at Kentucky in just a moment. Ed Carpenter, the winner today. The photographers gathering around Ed Carpenter in victory lane at the Kentucky Indy 300. We want to give a special thanks to our series sponsor, IZOD, the official apparel of the IZOD IndyCar Series, as always available at Macy's. And don't forget, for more information on the IZOD IndyCar Series, log on to NBCSports.com. One race to go, Jan, and it really is hard to believe that we have seen such a huge point swing this weekend. With Will coming into the race 12 ahead, he leaves 18 behind.
Yes, that makes Wally and I look like a couple of dummies. I certainly thought that it was going to be momentum was going to be what you wanted, but Dario, you know, I guess you can't mess with the stats. He delivered.
Nobody moved in the top 6 except the first 2. Ryan Hunter-Reay gained a spot, moving to 7, and Danica Patrick gets into the top 10, moving up 2 positions in the points. It should be quite a finale in 2 weeks in Las Vegas for the World Championship. If you don't make it to the race, you can catch it live on Sunday, October 16th at 3 o'clock Eastern on ABC. This marks the end of our 3rd season of coverage here on Versus. Before we sign off, we want to acknowledge the men and women behind the scenes and thank them for their dedication and passion to the sport that we all love, the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Going
Congratulations to Ed Carpenter, winner today here at the Kentucky Indy 300. And thank you all so very much. We'll see you next year.